right, y'all man, y'all guy, Derrick James speaks on brother Errol, okay? I know y'all love Errol. Y'all love Earl. Man down, big fish. I like the big fish. Oh my god, I like and Rolly still don't gotta fight. Nigga, get in there and go fight your mandatory, nigga. Go fight your mandatory. Rolly still out here bad. Nobody trying to fight for free. If all fuck with PBC, you gonna be fighting for free. So Derrick, y'all man James, remember they made a war form and shit? That dude that's doing adult film movies now with CC Mine. Remember he gave him a award. he all trying to what again, man. Down here in Texas. Down here in Texas. Derrick James warned Errol Spence about Tim Tszyu threat. Yeah, man, he hating on him, man. Man, Errol gonna come back, man. I don't care if he got leg sleeve on his leg, man. He gonna come back, man. I'm telling you, man. Errol gonna come back. Texas down here. He said, I think Errol is going to do what he's going to do. He said, but I think that Tim Tszyu is a very tough fight. You've got to be able to use your feet. You've got to be able to box because if not, he's going to try to bang you out. Derrick James to fight hype. And the thing about it is, shit, you know, a lot of people might say that even with Errol Spence being over there, you know, he wasn't a good boxer or he was a guy that just come forward and he didn't really use his feet with Derrick James. He didn't use his feet in the way that y'all, you know, traditionally look at feet work. But for the most part, you know, his education about boxing, they use their feet to get their head off the line. So they use lateral movement to get the feet off the line. You know, they don't necessarily come in a straight line. No Diddy. But they do use, you know, Derrick James do make his guys use his feet. Use feet to create angles and stuff of that nature. But yeah, he got to stay behind the jab. You know, he ain't gonna move his head at this point in his career. That's what I will say. He ain't gonna move his feet. You know what I'm saying? Or move his head the way, you know, people think he gonna move his hair. That's a wrap. But you know what he can do is, you know, continue to use his feet. You know, what Derrick taught him. But it is a tough fight. While, you know, he recalibrating, trying to get back in the mix. You know, Tim Tszyu has been getting in rhythm with his new coach. So and it sounds like, you know, from the rumors, he going over to Australia to fight Tim Tszyu. So if you going over to Australia to fight Tim Tszyu, I mean, Tim Tszyu has been finding the rhythm and Tim Tszyu has been fighting. I mean, I think people overlooking this fight for Errol Spence. They think Errol gonna come back in the form and run over Tim Tszyu. But Tim Tszyu, from people that watch this fight, he ain't got the same snap, but he found the rhythm though. He's finding the rhythm. And you know, that's what it is. He's finding the rhythm, but you know, most people are like, well, their version of Errol Spence from this, that, and the third, that'll defeat him, and it could. And it could. But, you know, as of right now, I mean, it's a tough fight when you haven't. It's a tough fight when you haven't been in the mix. You know, when you haven't been in that mix, it's a tough fight. And, you know, Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence remind you of each other. You know, both square up. Nobody really get their head off the line. You know, Errol Spence might be a smidget more athletic, but it ain't a gap. You know what I'm saying? You know, both of them like to punch. One is a southpaw. When they pretty much a carbon copy of each other. Pretty much. So, you know, we'll see what Ronnie can cook up, but you know, this, you know, like Robert Garcia say, you know what, you know, it tells you with him not taking the tune up, it tells you that he probably cooked. He just looking to get a payday. At the end of the day, you know, when I seen him hit the pass, not with Ronnie, but before then, he looked pretty bad on the pass. But I'm not sure if old buddy who's doing the pad work with him. I mean, they could have just been, shaking the dust off. You know what I mean? But, um, but for the most part, it's gonna be an interesting fight. I think it's gonna be a lot of intrigue in that particular fight with him and Tim Tszyu. I think he a little bit more jab dominant than Tim Tszyu. But people are going to see the first time he get punched. People gonna want to know where the condition at. And people will say, "Well, Earl look like he in good shape." Then the question is, can he take the abuse? And that's the question. Can he take the abuse? Can he take the punishment? You know, and that's the $1 million question. I think more than anything, people want to know if he can take the punishment. I think that's what people want to know, if he can take the punishment. But I'm surprised Derrick really speaking. I think he trained Alicia Baumgartner, so I'm surprised he's speaking on it. But I agree with him, 100%. People think this a layup fight, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nah. So basically saying, gotta box, gotta use his jab, gotta control distance. And what's their arm reach between the two? Let me see. See what their arm reach is. So Tim Tszyu 70.5. I think Errol Spence about 72. Hold on. Stomach just started hurting. Full. Errol Spence 72. So a little bit difference for Errol. Errol a little bit taller than him too. So I mean, I said this gonna be an interesting fight. It's gonna be one of them ones for the summer. I think the loser and winner might need to retire to keep it a bean. The loser and winner might need to pack it up. So, but who win? I mean, at the end of the day, it should just go on to the old nigga Olympics. Fight Jermell Charlo. They don't really need to get in the mix with Fondor and a few other them dudes. I don't really think they need to be in the blender with those guys. But that's just my opinion on it. That's my opinion on it. That's my opinion on it. But Derrick speaking out on this, I don't know if they solved they lawsuit issue or whatever it may have been. But I just know for the most part that wasn't on Errol. I will defend him on that. That was shiesty ass Al. But at the end of the day, when you employ somebody that had that much power, he told this dude, this what we agreed on, but this what he deserved. He don't deserve nothing but this. And that's why I couldn't have nobody like that over my money. Sorry. Hell no. Absolutely not. But when that money coming from Errol Spence Jr., in agreement with Errol Spence Jr., he out here buying shit and he got the money, he got some of his money. He ain't got all his money out here allegedly. And all this alleged, and you should take your money and give it to me then. And Al demonizes, his fighters to their people. That's what it seemed like allegedly. So, ultimately, we'll see what happens with that, man. But, they didn't fall out because he lost to Errol Spence. He fell out over some money, it sounded like. I mean, he lost to Terrence Crawford, But, but ultimately, history will show it was because of Terrence Crawford, but it was really because, how Al be moving and shit. But it don't really surprise me none, dude. You see why he got ran out the music industry. So hopefully that get done right. They get back right. But, ultimately, Derrick Wright, he ain't going to run over Tim Tszyu. He might, but the wise thing would do is to box. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And the subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live, we drop video. Follow me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love, support. Let me know what you girls and guys think in the comment section. Peace.